So inclusion is pretty much a hot topic and has been for a number of years now. It does ebb and flow a little bit in terms of its kind of popularity, but I think its importance should be running through every single organisation. Can technology really play a part in inclusion? Can it make a difference, or does it need to be warm and cuddly and people putting their hands around it?
That's a great question. So in our company, we're very focused on supporting organisations to build more inclusive culture, particularly management skills around diversity and inclusion. And I think the reason we've become so focused on that space was partly because it's such a priority for our clients and customers, as you say, and I don't think that's just a hot topic. I think that's here to stay. Also because it's really hard. So I was reading a fascinating example yesterday that it's statistically proven that if you are a venture capitalist investor, you are more likely to hire women into your team, which, by the way, venture capitalist is one of the most notoriously unpenetrated industries for women. I think 8% of all venture capital investors are women. You are more likely to hire a woman into your fund if you have a daughter than if you have a son. I was thinking most intelligent financial investors in the world would not believe that they would be more likely to hire a woman into their team because they had a daughter versus a son, like apparently a random occurrence, which I think just gives you gives me a reminder of quite how hard this is. So I've actually flip it around. I'd say if you're trying to solve the world's biggest skill problems, this is one of them. It's a behavioural challenge. I think if you try to do it without technology, you're done for. So what I'd say is, if I close all my stores like Starbucks and take everybody on racial discrimination training for a day and then put them back in the store, is there any likelihood that the 25 years of their accumulated knowledge as a human about bias and how they treat people will be changed by that 7 hours that they sat in a training room doing something? No. So I think it can only be changed by technology because it requires the accumulation of many touch points, nudges, interactions, points of self-reflection, conversation, and trying to bottle that up in the traditional training model is just totally economically unscalable to drive any change. I think that the opportunity for the world's best companies, I was talking to one of the world's biggest, most successful technology companies recently, the lady there who's responsible for diversity and inclusion globally, and she said the reality is that what we're trying to change is we're trying to change in our company what society has created outside our company. Now that's a huge challenge, but the really exciting thing is it's going to be the world's biggest and best companies that make the biggest dent in this problem.
Of course.
Because it's not going to be achieved by governments and public sector. Everyone has a part to play, but actually, if the 100,000 people in that global technology company become more inclusive in their approach, and you times that by 10 or 20 of the world's biggest and best companies, that, I believe, is actually the biggest, quickest route to driving the change in society. So, and there's no way you can change inclusive management behaviours inside an organisation of 100,000 people if you're not using technology, I think. So it's not technology only. It's technology enabled. It's technology putting it into action. It's the content and the platform and all of those pieces. But most organisations are still in the early stages of that journey, I think.